What's up, you guys? Steven with Magic Metal Money back again. First and foremost, thank you so much, all of you who are new to the channel, who are subscribing and liking my videos. This means the world to me. I love making content about magic and money that people can relate to and enjoy, so thank you so much. This one's going to be a fun one. We're diving in today to discuss Modern Horizons 2 reprints, wishlist style. So as we go through this, if there's anything I say that you think, hey, that's a horrible idea or that's a great idea, let me know in the comments below. Also, if there are any reprints that I don't mention that you think would be great for Modern Horizons 2, you know, cards that are not currently legal that exist in the world of Magic, let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it next time. I'll probably do a part 2. The first card we need for Modern is, of course, Wasteland. No, all right, calm down, calm down. I know that's a little too oppressive, but I do think we could use a different type of land destruction land that could be really beneficial for the format, right? So we know Ghost Quarter, that's not good enough. Putting yourself back a land drop to get switched from a non-basic to a basic for your opponent, not good enough. Field of Ruin, of course, is a great Modern card, but at the end of the day, it does require 3 lands. Even though it's a net 2 mana play, because you tap 3 lands and you get an untapped mana back, it does still require 3 land drops, and on the play against Tron, guess what? You've already been carned. That's not fun. No one likes being carned on turn 3. Sorry, all you Tron players. I don't like you. We're gonna try to print some hate against you, okay? That's what I'm here for. My mission is to print hate against big mana decks because I'm a Jund player, and yes, I'm extremely biased. That's the way the world works, all right? Rashadan Port probably is overall not the funnest play pattern because it's so repeatable, and also it doesn't even quite do what we want it to do of destroying a land, because if you tap their tower, they still get mana from their other lands. So what I'm thinking is maybe some type of actual 2 mana Field of Ruin effect. Like it's the same effect, you know, you tap your land and another mana source and you sack it, and then instead of getting both players searching for a non-basic untapped, you get the basic tapped. Now maybe your opponent gets untapped and you don't, whatever, I don't care. Just the fact that you could do it on turn 2 is a world of a difference. So neither player being net down a land, being able to search up a basic instead of your non-basic is great, but I think that would be cool. I think that would be a good card. I mean, I'm not a game designer, maybe I'm missing something obvious here, but I think that would be perfect for Modern. Now, speaking of land destruction spells, and we love the LD world, let's go with Vindicate. Vindicate is a great card. It's a 3 mana universal answer, sorcery speed. It's not too powerful, it's not too oppressive, and in the world of Modern with there are just so many threats. I mean, if you look at the ban list of cards in Modern, it's threats that get banned. It's not answers, right? Threats are always consistently the problem in Modern. So having something that's just a 3 mana universal answer, I think that's great. I think printing answers is always a good thing for the format. And Vindicate's a great card. Sometimes it's land destruction, but not always. It's just a good, well-rounded removal spell, and that, you know, is fine for a power level, for a format with a power level of Modern. Speaking of printing universal answers, can we get a Force of Will? What? All right, again, probably not what we want, but Force of Negation has honestly been a great card. The fact that you can't use it to protect your own threats, that you can only use the 0 mana side of the Force cycle on your opponent's turns was really, really great. But at the end of the day, turn 2 Primeval Titans, that's an awful experience. I hate it. And yes, the people casting a Titan on turn 2 love it. Fine, good for you. This isn't about you, this is about the rest of us. And we don't like it. So maybe some type of, you know, 0 mana on your opponent's turn counterspell for creatures. You could even give it a really clever name like, you know, Force of Essence Scatter. Real clever. Maybe they print foil instead of Force of Will, right? Having to pitch an island instead of a blue card. I don't know, maybe that's still wrong. But I think some type of force card, and again, you could correct it and not have it be actual foil, but have it be only on your opponent's turn. Can you pitch it for free? I think doing that for against creatures could be fine. It's a 2-for-1 at the end of the day, right? So it's not the end of the world to have your opponent Force of Will, your threat. I think that could be an interesting card to print. Let's see if it happens. And once you start printing more answers to creatures, what can you do? Print better creatures, of course. True Name Nemesis. Woohoo! Everyone loves it. Super fun card. Who isn't going to have a fun time playing against this? Definitely a card made for 2 players, right? Why not? Again, maybe this card's too powerful, but if they decide to print True Name Nemesis, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like, it is just a 3/1 creature, and yeah, it can wield equipment, but you can destroy the equipment, and it could be an interesting card, especially if they decide to reprint, you know, more answers of maybe in the world of Toxic Deluge. Do you guys love that fake Screamo voice or what? I don't know. I think it needs some work, but that's what we're here. We're practicing. Toxic Deluge, great mass removal spell. Powerful card, not too powerful. We already have ways to destroy creatures on turn 3. This one, or with 3 mana, this one takes some life. Could be interesting, could be playable, could be totally fine for the format. Moving on to some random cards here, we do have Rustic Study. Again, a nice grindy card, encouraging fair magic, but it's also just a mana tax. Like the Rustic Study is a cool card because it's not just automatic, hey, every time you cast a spell, I get to draw a card. It is saying I either get to draw a card or it's a mana tax. So it adds some variation, right? It's not the same exact play pattern every single time you face that card, every single turn. Sometimes you say, yeah, in this case, I'm going to let them draw a card because I really need to put this, I can't afford the extra mana. Sometimes you say, nah, I'm not going to let them draw a card, I'm going to pay the extra mana. It's interesting. There's some play, there's some variety to it. I think it could be a fun card. Flame Rift, another great card. Honestly, having a burn deck be good is always good for a format. Having an aggressive deck, keep decks honest and in check is always good, and Flame Rift is a great card. You know, as a little kid, I didn't understand this. I opened these when I was in elementary school. I was like, 4 damage to you and me. That doesn't make sense. I thought it was cool when I learned that's how a game could end in a tie. You know, one of those random things. You're like, oh, games can end in a tie? I guess Flame Rift could do it. Who knew? But anyway, it is a good card, right? It's a great card for burn, and I think that could be totally fine in Modern. Astral Slide. Everyone loves talking about Astral Slide every time. You know, maybe this card gets printed in Modern, and maybe it's too powerful, maybe not, that Psycho Blink effect, but hey, you know what? It's a white card. White can always use some love, so sure, why not? You can have it. Another one people want, 3 Visits. Obviously, this was a huge reprint in Commander Legends, but is it a Modern playable card? You know, I think so, yeah. And let them go get their, now they can go get their Triomes. But wait a second, this is for ramp decks. Forget it. No way, you don't get any love from me. No 3 Visits for you. Now moving on, of course, to the love of fair decks, Hymn to Turok, huh? I think this card is great. I don't think it's too powerful, you know, especially like in the world before all these bans. Like, if you even Hymn to Turok your opponent with Uro, like, they don't even care. Like, oh, you put a spell in the graveyard, or you put my Uro in the graveyard. Well, I'm just going to get the Uro back, or I'm just going to get my spell back later with Mystic Sanctuary. So it was definitely not even an issue there. But in today's world, it's a negative tempo play, right? Modern is a very fast format. I think it's a 2-for-1. It has the randomness effect to it. Hymn to Turok is a fun card. I like it. I think we should print it. Baleful Strix, of course, is a great card. Now, you might say, hey, they just barely gave us a Modern Baleful Strix and Icefang Quaddle. Well, 2 problems, right? They're not the same card. They have different mana, different card types. Icefang Quaddle, you have to earn it with the snow-covered theme, which is actually pretty cool that on turn 2, it's pretty much never a Death Toucher. I think that's actually pretty interesting. But the real reason why we need Baleful Strix is because Icefang Quaddle's too hard to say, all right? Am I even saying that right? Quaddle? Quaddle? I don't know. Nobody knows. Let's just give us Baleful Strix. We all know how to say that card. Shardless Agent. I think this would be a fine card. I mean, we have Cascade doing all sorts of broken things, but cascading a creature, you know, a little gray ogre. At the end of the day, a gray ogre that's harder to cast because of mana requirements is not the craziest card, and it does let you cascade. And so I think it's cool, it's good value, could be a fun card. Bloodbraid Elf was definitely not too oppressive when they reignited it and legalized Bloodbraid Elf. Let's try Shardless Agent. And if at the end of the day it doesn't work, it's an uncommon. You know, it's not like you're gonna break anyone's wallet to ban it. It's not that big of a deal. Wrapping up the video with a fun section here. There are a lot of other cards we could see reprinted that aren't yet Modern legal that we print in Modern Horizons. Let me know in the comments below what ones I've missed, but we're wrapping things up today with everyone's favorite tribe, Slivers! So looking at our Slivers, what ones do we have that are not yet Modern legal? We have Muscle Sliver, which is basically just a predatory sliver. Would not be the worst thing in the world to have another one of these. A Quick Sliver. This one could be fun, right? Giving your Slivers flash, that's really powerful. It's interesting because it also kind of plays against haste, right? So like it's interesting. That's like, oh, I actually just want to get my creatures out there and attack with haste. But if they don't have haste, then they might have flash. It's interesting. I like it. Let's give it a shot. Hunter Sliver could be a really interesting one with Provoke, right? Bring this out of the sideboard against creature decks. So it's like, hey, you thought you could clog up the board with creatures and have, you know, interesting combat. We're going to get rid of everything interesting about combat, and I'm just going to be able to snipe your creatures down with the Provoke mechanic. Is that fun? I don't know. Probably not. Let's print it and give it a shot. And moving on to the category of protecting your Slivers, we have some interesting ones. We have Mnemonic Sliver. Is this card good enough? Probably not. I just love the flavor text because anything relating to the Weatherlight crew always reminds me of being a little kid reading the novels. So shout out to Weatherlight and Hannah. Let's give you some Mnemonic Sliver. Crystalline Sliver. That'd be super fun, right? Giving everyone Shroud. No, terrible, not fun. Let's leave that one off. We're not going to reprint that one. Hibernation Sliver. This could be interesting. Bounce things back to your hand, paying life. Interesting effect. could be good, could not be good, I'm not sure. Sounds like it would be good for the deck. And Crypt Sliver. The fact that you can regenerate without having to pay mana, really powerful effect, really interesting. I think that could be good. Who doesn't love slivers? It'd be super fun to play against sliver deck. That's just like an iconic piece of Magic. I love slivers. Everyone as a kid, it's like when you learn about slivers, maybe you've made a knight deck and you've made a deck with a bunch of humans or something. And I'm not talking about like modern level playable. Just as a kid, you're learning, these decks, the creature types, you can play creature decks, and there's merfolk and elves and goblins. And then you find out about slivers and you're like, oh my gosh, none of my friends know about sliver decks. I'm gonna make a sliver deck and I'm gonna just kick their trash. Slivers are fun. It's a fun historical part of Magic. Let's make the tribe competitive, because why not? Creature decks are always great. There's plenty of hate against creature decks. Why not try to make them good? It's fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate the love and support. Like and subscribe. You're going to want to catch my next video. It's a fun one about why Time Shifted Remastered is the best set that we've ever seen.